Donald Trump wants to go down in history as the peacemaker of the world, but his toughest challenge lies ahead. Flush with the success of ending the war in Gaza, Donald Trump is turning his attention to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Mr. Trump has already offered Russian President Vladimir Putin plenty of carrots for peace. Now he seems to be reaching for a stick. The question is, will that stick be big enough? So what is that stick we're talking about? Well, the main one seems to be the Tomahawk missile. It's about 18 feet long. It's usually fired from submarines and ships. The main thing about the Tomahawk is its range. It can fly about 1,500 miles. It flies low, it's difficult to intercept, and it's got an enormous warhead. Given to Ukraine, it would really be a big contribution to their deep strike capability, their ability to reach far into Russia, to hit its command posts, to hit the factories where those cruise missiles are being built and the launch sites they're being fired from to terrorize Ukraine every night. It could even deliver the coup de grace against Russia's already crumbling oil refinery industry. Will it work? Sticks have been tried before. America has previously sent the ATACMS, another long-range precision strike missile. The difference is that the Tomahawk has been made in much greater numbers, and therefore, at least in theory, there's a lot more of them to give Ukraine. The Kremlin, it's clear, doesn't want to see these things on the battlefield, which is good reason to believe that they may well be effective. Dmitry Peskov, Vladimir Putin's spokesman, has said that it is a matter of deep concern that Tomahawks are even being discussed. So it's a capable weapon system. It will make a difference to Ukraine's war effort. Would it end the war? Well, that's where I'm not so convinced. There's a few reasons for this. One is we're not quite sure how many of these missiles might be sent. I spoke to one US defense expert this morning who told me that possibly hundreds could be available. Someone else has told the FT that there may be no more than maybe 50 tops. Now, used very sparingly against ultra high value targets, that's still a capability that will be useful to the Ukrainians, but it's not going to change the course of the war. And of course, we know from experience that there is no single weapon system, no silver bullet that's going to end this conflict. Donald Trump's obviously feeling pretty confident after his success in Gaza, but this is a whole different kettle of fish. In the Middle East, he had leverage over the Israelis in the form of US weapon supplies, but also Hamas were pretty much on the ropes and not really capable of continuing the war. In Europe, yes, Donald Trump does have leverage over Ukraine in the form of arms supplies, but Ukraine has already basically agreed to a ceasefire along the line of contact, a big concession. It's Vladimir Putin who seems to be desperate to push on the war, and there, Donald Trump has no such leverage. And that brings me to the real rationale, perhaps, behind this gambit of Donald Trump's, and that is really diplomatic power isn't really going to work without hard power. He's already reached out to Vladimir Putin. He's had him to Alaska for talks. He's tried his best to massage the Russian president's ego, to give him a good reason to step back from conflict, and it just hasn't worked. The most famous diplomat in history, Machiavelli, was obsessed with this idea. He found in his career that no one would take him seriously as long as Florence didn't have an army of its own. His book The Prince is obsessed with the idea of telling leaders they need to have force to back up diplomacy. And that brings us back to Ukraine and the Tomahawks. Maybe not so many of them will be sent to Ukraine, but the simple spectacle of American weapons slamming into Russian targets inside Russia may be enough to tell the Russians that their dream of prizing Donald Trump away from Europe and away from Ukraine, of turning him into an ally with which to beat Kiev into submission, has not worked out. That there's not going to be a quick victory in Ukraine this year or next because of that, and that therefore, perhaps, their best bet is to make some kind of imperfect settlement.